Music, industry talk, stories, equipment and more. We are Crossfader and this is off the record. Off the record. Off the record.
Hello, welcome back to this week's Off the Record podcast. It's episode 100. Well done, you guys, for being here, for sticking around for 100 episodes.
I know.
Well done us for getting to 100
Listening
episodes.
to us talk about
100
DJing
times, for basically an hour an episode, 100 hours of talking nonsense. And we haven't been cancelled. We're still going, and hopefully giving value/entertainment. Valuetainment.
All right.
Yeah.
So we've
Edutainment.
had some amazing guests as well within that time.
Some amazing guests.
Within 100 episodes,
Yeah.
it's great to have people like A-Track join the party.
Hey, Track, Joe LaBelle, Annabelle, Chapter and Verse, even going back to like members of Crossfader, Livesey, Holland, everyone who's been with us through the journey of like day one. Shout out Danny James. Danny James isn't here because he's swapped us for, what's his nickname? The Boss.
Is it?
Is it The Boss?
I don't know.
Bruce Springsteen. Danny's off to watch, I'll bait him out. I don't know if this is embarrassing for him or not. He's off to see Bruce Springsteen tonight.
For the 10th time.
It's like the second time in a year or something. But he is like a legend, right? So I hope he enjoys it. He's absolutely pissing it down in England, and it's an outdoor event.
Is it outdoor? I didn't know that.
It is.
I woke up this morning and Apple, the first notification on my phone was severe weather warning. I was like,
mate.
what? Okay, I looked at it. It's
mate.
like rain, could, serious, danger to life. I'm like, what?
UK, and
the rain.
it's summer basically here. So yeah.
When have we not started an episode talking about the weather? That's what I want to know.
It's British culture. Speaking of concerts, on a very different flex, I'm going to a Nicki Minaj concert on Saturday.
Noise.
So me and Danny's music taste differ slightly. I'm not sure Bruce Springsteen twerks that much, but
Imagine them two on a track together.
well, I hope I'm going. If you are from the UK, there's this arena been open in England called the Cope Live Arena. It's the biggest one in England. I think Europe, but maybe definitely England. And it's supposed to open like 3 months ago, and there's been so much chaos and drama, and they've cancelled like Olivia Rodriguez, Boogie with a Hoodie, like take that. They've cancelled like about 10 shows. And it's like a week and a half away till my one now, and I'm like, oh, sorry, not a week and a half. It's this Saturday.
I wonder what's going on with that Vegas Sphere thing as well. That's another one of those venues that's opened and then suddenly was like,
oh, did it?
Going
So what
to
happened
struggle.
to it?
I don't know. Like, I feel like they were struggling or something. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Congratulations to everyone who's stayed with us for 100 episodes. Hopefully there'll be another 100. We made it. Coincidentally, it is the week of the 10-year anniversary of Crossfader starting as well.
It is.
Another. Where's my round of applause? Is that it? Oh no, it's that one. 10 years, like this week, that Jamie and Katie started teaching one-to-one.
Yeah.
In a little room in Leeds.
Yeah.
One-to-one with a few people who wanted to get into DJing, and look where we are now.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey.
But yeah, a decade of educating people in the DJ world has been exciting, amazing, rewarding, everything it could have hoped for, and just so much more exciting stuff to come in the next decade for sure. We're on another like launch pad at the moment, and excited to bring some exciting partnerships and newness
100%.
to the world.
I think what I want to do is every week for like the next few weeks is bring sort of like a memory of like 10 years of Crossfader, like
That'd
a
be
nice
good.
little memory.
I was going to say, are we going to do like the story of Crossfader? But let's break it up
Let's break it up. So just like little memories that come to mind over the past 10 years that we're going to go. You get yours for next week. I'll do one.
Okay.
And mine's a very simple one. It's, I come into Crossfader sort of just doing content for at the time while the guys were focusing on the business. So I would come in, make some YouTube videos, before like even like Reels and TikTok. It was just like
there was
no
no
long
short
form. It was just YouTube videos. There wasn't like DJ education at all on YouTube. And I remember coming in, I was trying to blow up my own career, and I was doing this on the side as well. And I remember coming in, and I'd done a few mixes, and they started to do well on YouTube. But then sort of Jamie was like, right, we've been sent this unit, make a mix on this. And it was the first time where it's kind of like what Crossfader still is, which is like experiment with music and DJing and equipment, like all in one. Yeah. So this was like I've got it on here. So this is like the Roland
808.
Is it 808? Is that what it's called? 505. This one's DJ 505.
Oh yeah.
And it had like a drum sample on the top of it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my god! And like it was just like my
challenge,
and my brain was like, what can I even do with this? And I'll play some of like the drum part in the middle. So you could play like the 505 drum loops. So I was using like acapellas.
So the beat here is totally made on the fly with the drum sampler.
Yeah, and it was I was like, oh my god. I was like, maybe can I like? So I was like, oh my god, I can sort of do this all the time. So that was like a really cool moment. I was like, oh, actually, this is actually really cool. And yeah, from there it was like, this was back in the day when we could have like 2 or 3 days to like master a mix.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cool memory. So we'll sort of bring our little moments and stuff over the next few podcasts, and we'll start off the podcast that way.
Well, yeah, bravo. The content's come so far.
Yes,
and well done for everything over the last, I don't know, how many years has it been? 7 years?
7-ish years, hasn't it?
7 years.
Yeah. More excitement, guys. The excitement doesn't stop. It is launch week for us, which is the reason we do what we do, right, is to bring education to you guys listening. And I guess one of the most exciting courses that we've ever been a part of. So our Ultimate Scratching course has launched this week. Now, this is a new course and an iteration. So we've had a scratching course for a while. That you probably made, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, probably. That has the foundations of scratching in there. But, you know, we aren't elite world-class scratching turntablists. Never said we are or anything like that. Yeah. Love scratching, could scratch in a club level.
Exactly
that. Since we've added in champion DJ Blakey to the team, we're like, how can we
utilize his skills?
Yes.
Bring them to the table and then share them with everyone that's listening here and everyone around the world. And it's definitely that thing of bringing someone on who is very talented at what they do and then breaking that down in an educational way and regurgitating it. You know, some of this stuff that he's covering is very advanced and it's fully inspired me even just watching the advanced level content that he's added to this course, because like Lauren said, you know, I took the course up to my proficiency level. You know, it was a course built for controller DJs, specifically like how to scratch on controllers, because usually people would scratch with turntables back in the day. But controllers are so popular now that people want to learn on controllers. So I really built the course around that and, you know, these exclusive tools that you can follow along with the course. So you basically load a loop in and it matches exactly what's in the lessons. And then there's like a call and response. So there's, you know, maybe 8 bars of a scratch pattern, then 8 bars of instrumental, 8 bars of a scratch pattern. And you can loop that in your software and follow along. So it was all these things that I tried to bring to the table to make the education interesting, engaging, and, you know, really break down these techniques. But like I said, I can go up to about a 1-click flare, maybe a 2-click flare if I'm really working hard at it. So it's got to that point where we knew that we wanted to update this course. So let's bring Blakey in because he can take it way past
big time
what we can do.
Yeah, we talk about a champion, DMC champion DJ, and not only that, I think it's very difficult when you're sort of world class at something to be able to relay that to somebody else. It's not, you don't get many people who are really good at stuff that can actually also teach. Yeah. Whereas Blakey's role with Serato, he has been in that field of educating DJs on his former job. So he's had so many different jobs throughout his career that his talents just serve well to both education and being just world class at what he does. And in this space, don't get me wrong, there's some great scratch courses out there, but to this elite level, I think we've gone above and beyond. And I think that anyone who's previously got the scratch course, that's already in your inbox. People who got the complete package, it's in your inbox now. But for anyone who hasn't, if you haven't seen our promos or anything like that, I will play you the trailer of what is inside our scratching course.
You ready to learn to scratch like this? Or this? Or even like this. Welcome to the Ultimate Scratching DJ course. We will teach you how to perform everything from basic scratch techniques to advanced combos and routines. The best part is we give you all of the loops and samples used in the course. Just drag them into your DJ software and follow along with each lesson in real time. I'm DJ Blakey, former DMC champion and I will be your scratch tutor alongside Jamie Hartley. And I have one question. Are you Crossfader?
We had so much fun making that trailer. I can't tell you what it's like being around somebody that good. It just inspires you, doesn't it?
100%.
Just to like get behind the deck. What I said to you, where is the Hercules T7? Because I'm going to take it home this weekend and start the scratching course from like the advanced part.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely buzzing for it. So it's exciting. Yeah. So go and check it out. The scratch course is live now. And I thought I'd actually share some behind the scenes as well, because again, it's scratching. Is it a thing where with scratching, I feel like there's a certain pool of people it's catered towards, right? So like old school hip hop, it's got its roots in like throwback old school hip hop. It's got its roots in competitions like DMCs,
routine battle
competitions. Is it still relevant? Is there like a new wave of scratch DJs coming through? Probably not, but I think that's because it's access and having someone at the forefront who's on TikTok, who is on Instagram, like showing you how it's done.
Well, put it this way, like think about the products that have been released in the last few years.
Sure.
Moving platters. Everyone's obsessed with the moving platters. They want the moving platter to get that vinyl feel.
Yeah.
You know, we've got the Rain 12s. We've got the Hercules T7, like you just mentioned. We've got the DDJ Rev 7 by Pioneer DJ.
Yeah.
All of these with moving platters. We've got the Rain 1. And this is a big trend in the industry.
Rev 5 is aiming towards it, right?
Aiming towards it.
Yeah.
But this is where people are definitely intrigued by turntablist techniques, because there's so many controllers being developed that cater to that audience. And like you say, I think there is an accessibility thing of how far can you get into scratching, and then the practical element, which is something we really pride ourselves on in this course. And something that I really wanted to ensure was still a big segment that was, adapted upon, is how do we use scratching in real life DJ sets? That's it. Because there is the two sides of it. If you were to just sit and listen to someone scratching crazily for 5 minutes, it can get annoying, right?
Yeah, of course.
There's a certain place and time, like DJ battle routines, where you're showing off your skills, where that works. But then when you go to a club, you don't want to be scratching in that way in the club. Sure. You might apply a bit of it, but then it's how do you use scratching
in a club,
with actual songs to transition between songs and sound absolutely fly as you're doing it. Like
100%.
So that's a big thing for me in this course, is that we really focused on that and how to develop that. But it's a lot of fun just taking a scratch sample and just going mad over a beat. And that is where it all stems from, because it's muscle memory. You know, you learn with a scratch sample, but that same movement is applied when you load a song in to scratch drop a next song in. Sure. So it's,
And look, I think, like I was saying, I think the access to it and the almost like the coolness of it or something, it needs content and it needs fresh content. And part of it, look, we talk about a course, but part of it, and we give away so much value, part of it is us bringing it to the forefront again. So there's literally over the next 3-4 weeks, you'll see so much short form content from us. There's a YouTube mix gone out of Blakey scratching for a scratch routine, like a DJ set, like Jamie was saying. So it's an old school hip hop DJ set with scratches in it. Like you say, it's not just somebody scratching for 4 minutes and it's annoying. There's at recording, there's going to be there'll be a scratching for beginners. So if you are listening to this and you're like, how do I get into it? So before you even see the course, go to YouTube. There's a scratching for beginners, which is literally, how do I set up my controller for scratching? What's the first scratch I need to learn? Like the baby scratch. That's like your basic fundamentals. And then on YouTube next Sunday, there's another one where it's like 5 different ways you can use different scratches in a club set, which is what we're trying to get across. So I think there is a bit of a disconnect of like the content that's out there focusing on this, and the actual sort of DJs are going to be interested in this.
Do you know what, though? Let me tell a story. So when I first decided I wanted to learn to scratch, it wasn't at the start of my DJ journey. Right. It was halfway through. I was already a club DJ. I was playing in clubs. And do you know what? You get to a point as a DJ where you're very confident at mixing. You're very confident at putting your favorite tracks together and even doing some creative stuff, looping, hot cues, effects, applying all of that stuff to your sets. And from a creative outlet standpoint, you get to a point where you feel a bit stale and you're like, I can put on a great show and I can mix music well and I've got a few gigs and it's great. So where's the challenge for me in the DJ space? And that was where I hit, was my personal creativity and going, okay, here's a skill that I can definitely improve upon. So I went and bought some turntables and got a battle mixer. And I just focused at home, not to try and become a battle DJ, but just because it was an outlet for me to go, how can I get better at something and continue learning something in the DJ space? And actually what happened is when I got them and I started this journey, I just fell in love with it because it was so challenging compared to just mixing songs together or, you know, planning a set. It was a whole new challenge that I could approach in the music space. And it, you know, you've got to start thinking about muscle memory and about dexterity and about, you know, doing two things at once, you know, being ambidextrous. All of this stuff created this new challenge that, you know, ultimately was an outlet for me. And it was a way that I could spend hours practicing on my equipment and practicing DJing that I didn't need to go and use in a club, but it was really like, I loved it. It was therapeutic.
It's like a passion as well.
When you progress at something like that, you get such a big win, such a big satisfaction out of it.
Big time.
Because it's something that is hard, right? Scratching to an elite level is hard, and it takes hours and hours and hours of, you know, going over the same thing, practicing over and over to build up that muscle memory. So when you do finally nail down a scratch technique, it's such a win for you personally.
And it can. That isn't just like your story either. I play with a lot of DJs who will get to this stage where they've got 4 or 5 nights a week, comfortable. It's like, you know, what is next, and it's like, even like on a practice level, right? If you're practicing, and this might not be your kind of vibe or anything like that, but even, you know, we're going to show you some examples at the minute. Learning to scratch and then taking that scratch to like stuff that you love is crazy. Like it's a totally different avenue that you can sort of set yourself apart from. And then not only that, a lot of viral clips from DJs who can scratch really well, do so well on social. So if you're trying to get
that's a good
your
point.
socials
Whole other angle.
You've got these two things. It looks super impressive to do, right? And hardly anyone can do it, right? So it looks super impressive. It's not easily accessible. Someone can go and copy that, you know.
They can't just mix the same two tunes together. Yeah.
When I put a tutorial loop out on TikTok, I can look back 3 days and 3 people have done it because it's, you know, this press this button, loop it. Scratching's not like that. It does take time, and that's why it is so satisfying when you master it. But not only does it look visually impressive, it sounds visually impressive, and the two go hand in hand to make great social content. So again, if you're trying to build a following or get gigs, this can be another great tool. But again, I think if you're going back to like the early days when I was learning to scratch and the scratch education out there, it was all very similar. It was like 90 BPM hip hop. There was a same scratch sample, and it was like a bit repetitive. Whereas now we've got the choice of, especially with like stems coming into play, you've got an acapella for every track there, and you can start scratching with that. What I'll do now is I'm going to show you I picked out 4 of my favorite examples from like within the course, and we're going to play some clips for you now. This is all the stuff that you can like learn, and I think it's amazing. So this is scratching with like trap. You know, we talk about not your traditional way of learning to scratch and like 90 BPM. By the way, you do learn to get to this level. I'm going to show you some advanced
These
ones.
are the example routines.
Yeah, this is like lesson 40 out of 60, right? So the first ones is like set up your controller. So this is like scratching on trap music. I want to DJ right now. I just want to be able to do that now.
So, do you know what it is, though?
Yeah,
this is the great thing.
this is great.
You're hearing a scratch sample there, and the techniques that he's using, you know, is combining loads of combos from using chirps to stabs to crabs to twiddles to scribbles. All of that combined together makes that sound. But the best thing about it is once you build that muscle memory, that scratch sound you just replace with an acapella. You just replace with, you know, your intro edit, and you just do the same movement but use an acapella, and it just creates this whole new level of you know, mashing up songs and mixing songs together.
And this is what I'm excited about taking the course as well. Like, so when I'm like you, can scratch to a certain level. I never learned what the scratches are, so I can only go off a sound. Whereas if you learn a technique that is named after something, all of a sudden it just becomes, okay, I'll do that scratch now. Whereas I just know what it sounds like. So it's a great way to do it, 100%. So that's an example of like trap music. What I'll do is, this is a great example of being creative with acapellas, samples, being able to do this in a mix as well. I'll play it for you now.
Is what it sounds like.
What a tune, by the way.
Big tune.
So what you're hearing now is the original song.
This is the original.
And then listen.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Get the money.
So he's emulating the sample exactly.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Like that on socials. Like, do you know what I mean? People will go nuts over that.
So just to go on the other side of that as well,
yeah.
is like it's enabling music discovery, because what you're doing is going, I wonder what that sample is. I can hear it's being scratched. Then you go and figure out what the sample is, and actually it was, what is it, Wu-Tang Cream. So he's got the acapella of Wu-Tang Cream, and then that's Drake Pound Cake, right? The actual
pound
track.
Cake, yeah.
And it's then linking this stuff together, and you're doing these sample switch ups by implementing scratching in there, and it makes your music knowledge just expand like exponentially, basically.
100%. And yeah, so if like that kind of scene isn't your thing, and you're like, I'm into house, how can I use it with my music? There is a house example here, which and there isn't a lot of videos out there in the world with scratching with house. Roger Sanchez, he's great.
He is.
He's quite well known for doing this on scratching. A-Track, another one. But it just sounds amazing. Listen to this. So sick. And he's using that scratch sample because that's used within sort of the course, and it's a really long sample for you to be able to like hear the different elements in it.
Yeah.
But you can easily change that out for a classic house acapella and just be like, go crazy on it.
And then it's that thing of like, you can have different parts of the acapella and jump between hot cues and just scratch different words in that way. And it's just, you're going to stand out from every other house DJ at that point. But
100%.
You know what else is amazing about learning to scratch is that it forces you, as DJs, we're so programmed to the we're listening to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and we're just like nodding our head to that rhythm, right? So that's the basic rhythm you have to tune into to be able to beat match and mix songs together.
Yeah.
But scratching, what you're doing is you're creating melodic.
That one there was like,
so those melodic patterns that you're creating have to have some kind of rhythm that goes beyond boom, 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 boom. When you learn to scratch, you are going to be like chick cha, you know, to the rhythm of that straight beat. But as you get more advanced, you start tuning into, okay, what patterns fall within the 4x4 rhythm, and it really opens your mind up to those offbeats, triplet timing, all the other rhythms within a 4x4 piece of music that you can explore. And do you know what? I wouldn't be able to do half the hot cue play that I do now.
This goes into hot cue
without learning to scratch first. Like, I learned to scratch, and I was like, oh right, I've just discovered that I can like go over a douche 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 beat, and then that suddenly unlocked this whole other like rhythmical output that you can create. So it's
speaking of
so much fun,
big time. Speaking of rhythm, one thing that we haven't talked about yet, which is sort of in the course, which is another unbelievable skill, is like beat juggling. So beat juggling, if you're not familiar, is essentially you're taking one record and you're creating like a live remix using both turntables, using the crossfader, and it is a skill that goes hand in hand with like DJ competitions, DJ routines, and scratching. But again, there's not many people in the world that can do it and teach it to an elite level. I think some of these routines in the course, Blakey actually won the title, the DMC title with. And yeah, it sounds amazing. It's all about using the kicks, the snares, in a 4/4 pattern, bringing it back, starting again, but creating a totally different like remix of a track.
Yeah. Again, learning about drum structures. So when I started producing music as well, this played into it because I learned how to beat juggle. I've never applied it in a real life set, right? It's not something that I would go to a club and do. Like, we don't need to do it in a club, right? Yeah. But it's extremely fun. Again, one of the challenges of learning. Yeah. But then what you're starting to do is think, right, okay, if I've got a drum beat like boom, ka, dum, dum, ka, where can I fill in some extra sounds and what would those sounds be? And that's where your beat juggle comes in and you go, I'm going to add an extra kick in there. So then when I moved on to producing beats, I was like, oh, I understand drum structures because I learned how to beat juggle and I understand that a kick goes there and a snare goes there and the hi-hats have to fill in between. And then if I wanted to add an extra kick in, I can't just put it like over the top of a snare. I've got to fill a gap. And all of this stuff came from learning to beat juggle because it's forcing me to think about the structure and where the gaps are to add another little drum fill in. Yeah. So yeah, it's
you make a good point about the practicing because, like you say, with practicing, depending on how many gigs you have, you do need to find ways to keep it fun. It's going in your bedroom or wherever and just mixing back to back. If you know how to do it, you're just not going to do that all the time because it's just monotonous. And just having these little tools, and like you say, you don't need to get it to like this level, like this club level where you're going to go out and do a beat juggle routine in the middle of a set on a Friday night when they want to hear Shakira.
Yeah. They don't want to hear you beat juggling. Like we get that. But
they might want to hear it once. Like, what's the biggest track right now? I don't know, Metro Booming like that or something. Imagine just being able to do a little routine of it in passing or just a quick routine of somebody going, oh my God, that looks amazing. Is great, and just keeping your practice sessions. I know I saw DJ Puffy this weekend. He uploaded just like 2 clips of him just like practicing, and it's because he's got them tools, and that is fun. It's still like fun to him, even though again he's another champion DJ. It's like fun to do. So this is an example of beat juggling. This is a routine with Nas I Can, which has a very distinct kick snare intro, which is why it's really, really sort of recognizable.
This is the kind of routine that you'll be able to put together.
Already.
So he's juggling the kick there.
Yep.
And then he's creating pauses. So that half-time juggle, again, it's opening you up to understanding. If I create pauses in the music, I can then half-time the BPM, and it just musically it opens your mind up when you're learning, for sure.
Sick.
So go listen to the intro to Nas I Can, and then come back and listen to that and just hear the difference. Either way, it's just super fun to do.
100%.
So fun to
and like
play.
I say, guys, there's going to be loads of free education from us on socials. There's a post out last night, reel. There'll be another post today on TikTok as well. If you're on TikTok, we're doing a 7-day series of Learn to Scratch, which is like basic level, baby scratch. The first scratch is how to set up your controller, how to set up your crossfader for scratching. That's going out all this week on TikTok as well. Nice. Loads of free education around it. Let's do a quick catch up. We wasn't here last week, by the way. Apologise. We weren't here last week. Things just got out of our control. There's stuff going on all over the place. We just couldn't get in the building. But
we're a growing team at the moment.
Sure.
So there's a lot of stuff going on that's not forward facing that we're implementing so that we can deliver more and more value.
Yes.
We've got, new people joining the team that are going to be creating content for the website. We've got new people that are joining the team that will be on our social media and stuff soon. So there's a lot going on that we're kind of getting.
We're laying the foundations. We're laying the foundations to be able to give you double the stuff. It just takes a while, guys. So apologise. But yeah, we didn't have a quick rekordbox 7 chat. I'm sure you've seen our videos and you've updated. If you have updated, so many people was like, I'm still on rekordbox 5. Wow. And I get it, right? If something works for you, I get it. There's no need because everyone's updated something and it's broken their rhythm. Even if it just looks different, people just like, oh God, I've got to learn something new. And you just want to go out and DJ, don't you? I get it. But rekordbox 7's here. It's got some great features. If you haven't checked out our review, go and check our review out. Give us some of the top
Well, you know,
highlights.
they're really focusing on music management and this ecosystem of discovering and managing your music. That's really what the key focus is for this update, because they've brought in some of the CDJ features into the rekordbox software and like playlist panel. They've kind of brought their own version of AI, like their own AI into the software. It goes a bit beyond just looking at metadata. I think it's sort of analyzing the vibe of the songs, but there's basically collection radar now and streaming radar. I love streaming radar, right? So these two features, what they're doing is collection radar's trying to discover old gems in your library that you might not have thought to mix. And it's recognizing the vibe, the energy, and then looking at the key and the BPM information, all of that data along with the vibe of the track, and analyzing that and then suggesting other tracks in your collection that it thinks will work and, you know, mix well with it. And that does it on the fly. So as you're mixing whatever the master song is, it then analyzes everything else, which is great. But beyond that, if you have a streaming integration, then Streaming Radar basically takes something like Tidal or Beatport or Beatsource, or you can combine all of them if you have subscriptions to them all. And whatever track you're playing, it uses those same kind of parameters, analyzes the vibe, and then goes, out of the millions of songs in the world on these streaming platforms, here is a chunk of songs that should theoretically mix well with what you're playing right now. And honestly, I've tested it. There's a mix out there on YouTube where I kind of do a first run through of this. There's no planning. So it's literally, I play the next song it suggests, and then what it suggests off the back of that, I play that one and I mix each one. And it's just churning out song after song. It's a great way to discover music rather than doing all your discovery away from the decks on your phone or, you know, on a laptop. You're doing your discovery as you're DJing, which is just awesome. And then obviously you can drag and drop those songs into playlists if you like them. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest highlights for me for the rekordbox 7 update. I'm excited as well because I think we're about to hear some absolute bangers right now. So hold on, we can now.
I think it's a beautiful segue of music discovery because we are about to play Add to Playlist, which is our game where we try and give you some edits. These are all SoundCloud edits, so they're all free. They all go in our Discord at the end of it as well, so you can check all these songs out. But I'm going to play Jamie some songs that he's never heard before. He's going to rate them, give them like an energy rating, try and put them in a playlist in a genre. And yeah, I've got some sort of really cool house stuff this week as well. Before we get into the game, we've talked about the scratching course. If you fancy taking it, of course, there's a juicy discount for our Off The Record listeners. Just use the code Off The Record and you'll get 20% off of the scratching course, and that goes for any of our individual courses if you want to take them as well. Right, are you ready for some bangers?
Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Let's go.
And by the way, if you're watching this, you can see awkward like dad dancing going on. I'm liking the vibe. The vibe. Pretty classic sample.
It is.
Okay, yeah, I'm vibing.
I'm
vibing.
kind of like...
this would go in my, like, everyone that's listened to this before, not traditional named playlists. This would be like my rolling house playlist.
It is rolling, isn't it?
It is, yeah, that bass line.
You know what? It's one of them where it's 125 BPM this, but it feels faster.
Yeah. Because it's got good energy, right? So you're not really going to play it in a warm-up. You can play this more in the main set for sure. Okay. Who made this?
This is Body Moving is the Freshkabar remix. Freshkabar remix. Body Moving.
Shout out.
Yeah. It's house, innit?
It's house. It's rolling house. If you're going to put it in a Jamie Hartley playlist, that's going in the playlist.
Nice.
Definitely.
Let's try this one. It's got quite a good build of this one.
Another similar vibe. I feel like they're together quite
There's
well.
a bit of a theme this week.
Yeah.
Let me get to this little breakdown here. This is where it kind of gets going. House again, innit?
Straight up house.
Again, this is 130, but don't feel as like pumpy as the last one, does it? Don't feel as rolling.
They could go in the same playlist though.
I was thinking this is more tech house.
Again, another of those like recognizable vocals, which is always good. Let's go. Oh, I love a bit of an isolated bit before the drop.
Right,
you can have fun with that. Again, prime example. If you were going to be a Blakey in Scratch, you would use that, and then all those different notes, dun 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 dun, like get the different ones and scratch the different ones.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's why I chose it.
And then in a few weeks after you've taken the scratching course, you come back and have some fun with
Next week, I'm going to be able to scratch that unbelievably. That's shifty. It's called DSTR. I don't know if that's.
I mean, it's going to go. It's going to go in the playlist because it kind of works with the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's added to playlist. Rolling House.
Let's go.
Is this another Rolling House?
You know, all similar vibes today. It's because I had this like house gig on Sunday evening, and this was all just tracks on this set that I played. Let's go. Little sample.
So you can hear here, this is Lawrence preparing for a set, and you know if you listen to the podcast, he comes from more the hip hop background, so this just shows that like hybrid approach to approaching a house set for you, right?
100%. Yeah, I was like, please let this drop be good. Do you know what I mean? Because I want to play this.
Much bigger build, like more energy in the build up.
Bit more tribal.
I feel like this is one of those ones, it's still going the same playlist. Yeah. I think you've got to be careful about, it's got a really good build up and then it drops, and I feel like you might lose the energy quickly after the drop. People will go, what's next?
So this was, I don't know if you can tell, but this was for like a daytime set, like early evening.
Right, okay.
Why it's kind of like planned like this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like super bassy or anything like that. It's quite friendly.
Yeah, that's going in the playlist. Who's that by?
That is California Love, and that is the Chris Valencia. Let me get the Chris Valencia, and I can't see the rest. Chris Valencia remix.
Nice. I always think like getting a catchy vocal that's from a different genre. Any tracks that kind of hybrid two genres together like that work really well, especially if you're playing to an audience where it could be quite an open audience, and like you've got to kind of please a variety of people. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not playing a headline set because you're an artist. You're playing a music orientated night, but it might just be like a student music night, you know, where they want house, but there's probably a lot of students there with the mates who've been dragged along who actually just need a bit of a vocal to sing along to. So I think that's a good
next one.
Way to play. Oh, this is a bit of me. It's those stabs that do it for me.
This is great. This is an original track, by the way. Picked it. It's got that lead electro sound.
Yeah.
Were you hoping it was just going to go a bit more techy?
Do you know what?
Do you want the second drop?
Go to the second drop. This is amazing, right?
Great.
This is great.
The drop let you down.
The drop let me down a bit.
Yeah. I have to say,
So
it's like an original track, and when I played it, it was great reaction, because I think people were expecting that standard like tech house, sort of really low bass. It's quite in your face. Like
I'm not a music producer, so this is with all due respect from a listener's perspective. Yeah. This is where, do you know what I would say for that? I feel like it was calling out for a more repetitive drop. I think the melody was too. Is it flamboyant? Is the word like dun 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 dun? It was trying to hit too many notes within the melody. If I was going to get super critical, like it's got a vibe to it, but I think you could simplify it a bit more, and it would have a bit more like subtle energy that rolls through, rather than that synth being like the thing that leads it through. That synth should be more of a stabby rolling melody, I think, if I was going to get super analytical. That's not going to go in the playlist. Cool. It's still great, but
cool. Last one. This is another sample from, again, going through genres. It's like R&B sample.
slower, right?
Yeah, 1, 2, 4. This.
Yeah.
This is Rock the Boat, More Than Friends remix. All these tracks will be in the Discord.
Again, for that time of day, it works well, you know, with the California Love vibe going on previously. That hybrid approach is great. It all comes down to the drop. I like that spring sound. Okay, vibe. Yeah.
That's what you were hoping for the last one, weren't you?
Exactly that, right? I think if it was just a bit more focus on the sub bass, less on that lead synth. Yeah, because I've got good, like, decent headphones on here as well, so you can really hear like the intricacies of the music. Yeah, that's a vibe. That's a vibe. That is going in the playlist. I think all of these definitely go into that rolling house kind of vibe. Early doors, maybe into main peak time, and definitely, you know, with those vocals like California Love and Rock the Boat, you can kind of hybrid approach your set to please a wider audience for sure.
Fun fact: I was basically DJing in an old school bus. So it was like a traditional American school bus, yellow, and there was DJing in there. The issue,
and they cut the side off.
So they cut the side off. The issue was the top of the bus was still like eye level.
I think
so
I've done a gig like this.
Yeah,
you have to like duck down.
I had to crouch just like an inch.
Yeah.
But for an hour and a half, that it starts to hurt. Or just like, because we want to see the crowd reaction every drop, right? So I'm mixing, and then I'm ducking down. I'm looking at the crowd reaction, and I'm like, after an hour and a half, I'm like, oh my god.
Wasn't the Fred Against Skrillex Fortet New York the Times Square one? Wasn't that a bit similar where they were like having to like duck down and look out?
Yeah, but super good. It looked great from like the socials and from like the punter's end. It was great. Sick. So all of them, I'll add all of them tracks to our Discord after the podcast.
Shout out to the producers, by the way. Like,
yes,
I know some of you are reaching out even,
and
thanking us. You know, we appreciate you making these tunes,
yeah,
and sharing them.
Kind of a
us,
byproduct we didn't really see. A lot of the producers are getting in touch saying thank you so much.
Yeah.
So if you are a producer that has bootlegs, you know, our DMs are open. You can send us some tracks. You can comment on the YouTube with your links. Anything you want to do, we'll listen to the music as long as they're free to download and free for the people. It's all good. Again, guys, if you are interested in taking our brand new scratch course, which is out now, you can use the code OFFTHERECORD, and that'll get you 20% off it. And that goes for any of our individual courses, or you can go and get all of them in the complete package, which is 26 courses now, I think. So it's growing. There's a drummer bass course coming as well, but the complete package, you can go and get that now, which is all of our courses. And we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.